Welcome to this edition of Weather to Watch. It's the 30th of May, 2025. Next week looks like hazardous weather returns to the Great Plains. Hello, everyone. It's Friday afternoon, the last Friday of May. Last day of the month is tomorrow, June 1st, Sunday, and we'll talk a little bit about June. It looks like it's going to be an interesting month, and it starts off next week with these hazards in yellow or gold. Those are severe weather threat areas, and the green areas represent heavy rain through next week, and we'll talk more about all those here in detail in a minute. Here's the visible satellite loop, a rarefied air mass here. Very, very nice air showing up across the central and northern plains, finally drying out, especially in this area, which has had just repeated rainfall day after day after day for about a week straight. This is Canadian wildfire smoke that's showing up in parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Iowa. And the main activity in terms of weather, severe weather in particular, is going on along the front here on the eastern coast and maybe a little bit in Texas. Take a look at the 500 millibar flow. We have this trough of low pressure that is over the eastern U.S., Tennessee River Valley. There's a low pressure center over Ohio. And generally speaking, this is the weather maker for the next couple of days. And then once it moves out to sea, things get a little quieter for a while before it picks up again. You can see the northerly flow aloft is what's helping to propel some of that smoke down into the central U.S. High pressure is anchored over Texas and Kansas, with the cool front now stretching from South Texas to a low up around West Virginia. A little stationary warm front action there through Virginia. A reinforcing shot of cold air there, but that will only make it into the Great Lakes states and New England. So this is a fair, dry air mass. This time of year, that shuts down severe weather, so that's good news. If we take a look at some of the surface observations in the northern plains, wow, this is really nice air. Minneapolis has a temperature of 74 with a dew point of 50. Dry, cool, clear conditions up there, again, except for maybe the smoke. Northwesterly winds, not too much. Des Moines, a little warmer, a little windier, with a north-northwest wind about 15 knots, close to 20 miles per hour. Temperature 77, dew point 48. Very, very nice. By contrast, we go down to Florida, where the dew points are in the mid-70s around Tampa. Hot and humid there. Jacksonville, 89 degrees. These are station models, so the upper left is always the temperature. The lower left is always the dew point. The sky condition is the circle in the middle, and the wind is always pointing in that direction. And then the more of these there are attached to it, the barbs, the windier it is. So it's not too windy in the southeast. Radar reviews shows a large area of just plain old rain in Ohio underneath that surface low. Some of these showers around Chicago could maybe pick up some gusty winds with them. And we certainly see a squall line developing here from just east of Charlotte down through the heart of South Carolina into Georgia. And that is, again, going to be the focus of severe weather. We have another one forming there in Virginia. That's probably the one that needs to be watched the most for the potential for severe weather. And here's why. This is a tornado watch for parts of West Virginia and central and western Virginia. I think that's going to be extended more to the heart of Virginia here shortly as thunderstorms continue to develop. This is that was a tornado watch. This is a severe thunderstorm watch down here along the southern end of the line from Charlotte to Atlanta and points just a little bit south of there. The outlook for today still has now a pretty big area. From the morning outlook, they put an enhanced area, 3 out of 5, for pretty much all of South Carolina, Charlotte and Raleigh included in that. And again, there's some threats up here of a tornado threat. Here's that slight wind gust and maybe hail out of those storms in Wisconsin. And then way out in New Mexico, there's a little bit of a threat too. As far as the tornado threat today, 5% chance. And again, from Philadelphia down through Richmond, almost to Charlotte with a 2% risk surrounding that. And that is a developing trend. I issue every morning, it's a daily report, a severe thunderstorm outlook. Now, this report that I do always will be fresher with the day one information, today's information. So in other words, that enhancement is something you're not going to see in the morning report, but the morning report will go out 7 days too. So there's the difference. But if you're looking for severe weather probabilities, be sure to check that out. Over the next 5 days, the heaviest rain areas include areas of Oklahoma and maybe parts of Texas and also Kansas. We see some what appears to be upslope rain conditions with moisture right along the Appalachians there. Some pretty good rain in areas up in parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's that map I first showed you. And then parts of Florida in for some heavy rain as well over the next 5 days. Not a particular storm here, but this is an accumulation over a 5-day period. If you see the red, by the way, like there in eastern Oklahoma, that's 3 inches of rain. So I've certainly put out maps that have been worse, but you got to remember this area is completely saturated. So anything that falls here is going to be run off, and it's going to cause some either flash flooding problems or adding to what already are flooding issues on many rivers. We'll go to the tropics, and the first storm of the eastern Pacific, Alvin, did form. There's also a very slight area, 40% chance or less, of some more tropical development there off the southern coast of Mexico, as disturbances over here that didn't have a favorable environment will move over here across Central America and find a more favorable one. So this is what Alvin is forecast to do. 8 a.m. this morning, it was centered here. It is not forecast to go beyond tropical storm status. That's what that S means right there. In fact, it'll become a tropical depression as it heads more northerly by very early on Sunday morning, being right at the tip of Baja. And if we look at the loop here, this is precipitable water. GFS also has the isobar, so it pretty much verifies what this thing is going to do. It's going to move north and weaken, and the precipitation all gets bottled up down here. And none of this really was able to get over to where some of the dry areas in the country are, which is right here in southwest Texas. But notice on the precipitable water that we start to get 1.5, 1.75 totals moving in from the Gulf. So that's some good news. Let's take a look at temperatures now. So Saturday, a big chunk of the central U.S. still below normal. That's the green and blue colors. Above normal conditions out in the East Coast. So the actual numbers are the highs. So Philadelphia will be 88 degrees. Meanwhile, it'll be only 68 in Denver on Saturday. And then we go to Monday, 2 days later, big warm up in the northern plains with 90s common in northern Minnesota. Duluth almost there, 89 degrees. A little cooler in the wake of that system in the northeast, and also another little shortwave moving in across Arizona, and the Four Corners region will keep things cool there as well. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.